What qualities should a man look for in the right woman?
It's so funny. The most important quality a man should look for in the right woman is high self-esteem. You want a woman who is happy with herself. Now, we all have our own emotional homes. Some are more sad, some are more angry, some are more lonely, some are more fearful and tense. We can all go into those states, depending on circumstance, depending on how well we manage our own emotions. But where does she live? If you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, if you're looking for a life partner or a long-term girlfriend or wife, she has to be somebody who's already happy with herself. If she needs you to make her happy, that's a disaster. And by the way, everything I'm going to talk about here today applies for women as well. So they need to screen for men with very similar, if not the same characteristics. How happy is she with herself? Is she somebody who's always angry and stressed and frustrated and lonely and or does she only rarely go there? We can all go there, for sure, absolutely. But where does she live? High self-esteem, her being happy with herself, her liking herself is the single most important qualification criteria you want to look for in a woman. Next question, babe.
What's the biggest green flag a guy should look for when dating?
When dating. Yeah. I'd say very similar. Self-esteem is important. But other than that, it's genuine burning desire. How much does she like you? There are some women like Fernanda, who I hope have a lot of genuine burning desire for me. And then there's some who are just meh. There's some women where no matter how well I communicate, and trust me, communication is a skill that you really still have to learn and improve, because that will largely dictate how much genuine burning desire she has for you. But there are some women where no matter how much I'm on point with my communication, they're just like, meh, ginger, bah. They're not that excited. There are some women who will never love and appreciate you that much. So you need to find somebody who just naturally really likes you. Your face, your body, your natural style of communication, anything about you, your quirks. You want to have somebody who has high, genuine, burning desire. Next.
How do you know if a woman is a wife material?
You find that one weird, don't you? You never heard that one before, wife material?
Yeah, few times, but still
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, wife material, basically just whether you want to make her your wife. Material is a bit weird, yeah? Mm-hmm. But whether she's wife material or not largely comes down to obviously whether you like her physically. There has to be a degree of physical attraction. Do you have the same goals? But largely, is it personality and values? Are your values aligned? If you're Christian, she has to be Christian. If you're Muslim, she has to be Muslim. If she's Jewish, you got to be Jewish. You don't have to. There are circumstances, I'm fully aware, where you don't have to have the same religion. But trust me, if it's important for you, how are you going to raise your children? It can work if you have different religions. But if you're not together yet, just pick somebody who believes the same things you believe. Because if you're going to have a family, how are you going to argue about certain things? Again, with freedom of speech. If you think freedom of speech is very important and she just doesn't believe that, then you're doomed for trouble. So I would highly recommend, what's so funny?
I blinked twice.
You blinked twice? So joking. People in the comment section, because I do the majority of the talking, people sometimes say to Fernanda, girl, if you need help, blink twice. You just blink twice in the camera. Somebody's going to crop that out, and then we're going to have the FBI, or the Irish version of the FBI in front of us. Anyway, where was I?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, religion and politics. And values. You have to have, thank you, the same values. Fun, humor, laughter, not taking yourself too serious, those also matter. It's extremely important that you are aligned on your fundamental values. Compatibility regarding values means the same. Compatibility regarding personalities does not mean the same. Fernanda and I have very, very different personalities. She's very introverted, I'm rather extroverted, and it works well. You don't have to have the same personalities at all, but your values, they have to be aligned. Next question, my baby.
Mm-hmm. What's one thing men often overlook when choosing the right partner?
What do you think? Because I have one. Does anything come to mind? If you look at, because I have something, but if you look at self-esteem, yeah, but I already talked about that. Something that I may have not mentioned before. What do you think of sexual compatibility?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. You are the dating coach.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Sexual compatibility also really matters. I'm not going to go into that much detail. But size, passion, open-mindedness, these things really matter. Drive. How often do you want to have intimacy? These things really matter. And sex is not the most important thing in a relationship, but it's definitely an important thing. Tony Robbins says most relationships, they don't fail for a lack of love, they fail for a lack of passion. And so intimate compatibility is really big. If we're just talking about size, right? There are some women for whom you're rather large, and then there's some women where it might feel like you're driving into a tunnel. And it's just like not enough friction. So intimate compatibility is a very real thing. So there's some women where you can just give it your best for fucking 45 minutes and nothing happens. And then there's some women where you can easily make love for 2.5 minutes and she comes 2 times. That's amazing. Next question. See, that's what happens when you let me pick the subject.
Should a man have a list of must-haves for his ideal woman, or is it too rigid?
Too rigid. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You gotta have must-haves. You also want to be flexible in life, obviously. But a must-have is a must-have for a reason. You want to write down your nice-to-haves and your deal-breakers. Must-haves, nice-to-haves, deal-breakers. Your nice-to-haves, those are the ones that you don't need by definition. But the must-haves are a must-have. Imagine, she's so beautiful. She's perfect, loving, kind, caring. You have great compatibility, but she has a dick. Like, that might be a deal breaker. For some people it might be, for others it might not be, right? And this metaphorical lack of compatibility manifests itself in real deal breakers, oftentimes. Low self-esteem, male best friends, whatever. You need to have your own list of deal breakers and must-haves. Now you might say, David, aren't those the same? Yes, but we as human beings are oftentimes better at figuring out what we don't want as opposed to what we do want. So write down all the things you don't want that are deal breakers. And she can be perfect. One deal breaker, it's gone, it's done, it's dusted. This is not about aiming for an artificial standard of perfection, but you do want to have a high standard. If you're a man who's successful in his career or business, you're kind, you're generous, you treat her well, you're allowed to have a high standard. You're allowed to aim high. Most men live lives of quiet desperation. Henry David Thoreau says that. Now the desperation ain't so quiet anymore, is it? If you walk down the road and you look most men in their eyes, they're half dead, half depressed, because they're not in a loving, intimate relationship anymore. Next one.
How can a guy tell the difference between chemistry and true compatibility?
You can have a lot of chemistry with somebody who really isn't right for you. You can have a lot of chemistry with a woman that you do not want to be in a long-term relationship with. Chemistry is just a feeling you have in the moment. Compatibility is the base from which you'll build a truly fulfilling, meaningful relationship. Now, you should have both, but we are raised in a society of Disney movies where we're told that we're supposed to have this firework of explosions the second our eyes meet, and I can't stop thinking about her, and if only I could have her, then my life would be complete, and I can't eat and I can't sleep. That's a movie. It's not true. It's not reality. In reality, if you come from abundance, you will have positive emotions towards her and you'll feel excited about her, but most men mistake love for neediness. That's a very important one. Little tangent. There's love, neediness, and desire. These are very different things, and chemistry. These are very different things. Love, in all spiritual and religious traditions, is defined as action, an act of service, of giving without asking or expecting anything in return. Desire is wanting. Fine, nothing wrong with that. Neediness is you coming from scarcity, you believing that your happiness depends on her. And then chemistry is mutual reciprocated desire in the moment, if you will. Then a sexual chemistry with some women. You might have very little chemistry with a woman who's actually objectively attractive. That can happen. So you do want somebody who's physically attractive and you have chemistry with. But compatibility is more important than chemistry, even though you do want to have both. Next question. Good answer? You like it? Mm-hmm. Do you have something to add to that right now? No. Whenever you do, feel free to interrupt me. Because people are always, why didn't you let Fernanda talk? She can talk whenever she wants to. Like, I'm not, you know, what do you have to say to people who think that I don't let you talk?
I'm introverted. I don't like talking.
There you go. She can whenever she wants to. I'm encouraging her.
No.
No, she's good.
What's a subtle way to test if a woman has the same values as you?
You communicate what you actually believe. You say, freedom of speech matters. I don't believe in censorship. Censorship is BS. And that's mild. I could say things that are a lot more provocative, but this is not about me. This is not about my values. I want to help you find somebody who believes what you believe. If you're on a first date and you shamelessly, unapologetically, radically, honestly communicate what you actually believe in, then you'll be like Moses part in the Red Sea. And some women will love you and others will hate you. That's fantastic. Because if you disagree on fundamental values, such as freedom of speech, for example, or the fact that financial stability is awesome, and that people with money aren't inherently evil, if you disagree on such fundamental things, or First Amendment rights, or I don't know, I don't even know. You know that one? Pew, pew, pew. You know that one? In America, the First Amendment is the ability or the right to have a gun, right? We live in Ireland, so I don't think we have that, right? But whatever happens to be, whatever you want, if you disagree on such fundamental things, you're not going to be able to have a relationship. You will have so much conflict. Most of the conflict men and women experience in relationships come from a lack of compatibility. What was the question again? What's the subtle way to test if a woman is? Yeah, you communicate radically honestly. You say it. You don't roll up on the interview with a list of questions. It's funny, rarely I have female clients, sometimes I do. And then they like to interview men. And I was like, don't do that. And you as a man, please don't do that to women either. Don't roll up to the date with a list of questions. It makes it very logical. It makes it very, very heavy. So just speak your truth provocatively. You still have to be kind and calibrate and fun and playful and create a degree of romantic spark on the first date. That's absolutely what it's about initially. But you also want to screen for compatibility by making radically honest statements without hoping for validation of said things. Next question.
How do you handle it if you are really into a woman but she's unsure about you?
If you're really into a woman but she's unsure about you?
Mm-hmm. How do you
Okay, I'm going to let you answer this one. How do you handle it? Relax, don't stress. How do you handle it if you're really... You will, because we're going to do this whole video without a cut. How do you handle it if you're really into a woman but she's unsure about you? If a man thinks she's not that sure, let's say they've gone on a couple of dates, and he's like, yeah, she wants to meet with me, but I'm not sure if she's fully into me. What should he do?
leave her? Next.
Abundance! But what if she still wants to meet him? What if his judgment is just impaired? Maybe she likes him. Mm-hmm. Have there ever been guys who were unsure about you wanting them or not? Never? Mm-mm. Really? I mean, I wasn't, but that was me. That was a bit different, you know? I would argue, so on the one hand, what Fernanda's saying is absolutely true and legit. Because if she is unsure about you, you want to move on. But if it's been a couple of dates and you think she's unsure about, and you, as long as she's willing to meet you for a date, should you not meet her?
Yeah,
if she's willing to meet him. Because maybe he's just telling himself a story in his own head.
Mm-hmm. I have my own.
You have your own. But like genuinely, like if he thinks she's unsure, what should he do?
Communication. Ask her.
On a third date, do you like me? Imagine, see, that's, I love it. And she's been with me for 5 years and she knows it all. Imagine you're on a second date with a dude, not you anymore, but your previous past self when you were single and you hadn't met this particular person yet. And he would have said, do you like me? Imagine on the second date, I would have been like, I'm not sure if you like me. I want to communicate. You like me? Exactly. I'm a bumperclap, right? That would not work well.
Okay, so what should they do?
Just keep meeting her and date other women. Meet her and date other women as well. Go and explore your options. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because by the way, the reason you get these frustrating experiences and it hurts you so much is because you're putting all your eggs in one basket. If you work in finance, you're not diversifying. You're not diversifying your emotional investment. You're not stoic. You have to be stoic. Up until you've dated her for 2 months, I wouldn't get too excited about her at all. Look at the process, because the process will always get you there. Getting too invested in one individual too quickly, not knowing anything about her, will lead to pain. Next.
Is it better to wait for the perfect woman or focus on building yourself first?
You will never stop building yourself. Personal development is never going to stop. So you might as well start now. I should work on myself first. Nonsense. You will never stop. You will never stop growing, because the second you stop growing, you start deteriorating. Things in life either grow or they deteriorate. They do not stay the same. So, the perfect woman, on the other hand, does not exist. The perfect man does not exist. I've never met a perfect human, have you? You're always going to find some minor things that you won't like, no matter who that person is. But are you genuinely really excited about that person? Are you 8 or 9 out of 10 level excited about her, or only 4 or 5 out of 10 level excited about her, compatible with her? If there is a woman that you only really like 5 out of 10, personality, looks, everything taken together, or 8 or 9 out of 10, or 7 or 8 or 9 out of 10, that is different. You want to be excited about her. Not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're not either. I'm not either, for sure. But you want somebody that you're very, very, very excited about. So, yes, continue your search of personal development. Keep working on yourself. Keep working on your business. Keep working on your career. That's never ever going to stop. She needs you to have that anyway. But you might as well start putting yourself out there right now. If you want to have a family, get out there now. Use dating apps, Instagram, start approaching a person in bars. Explore the options that are out there, because you're going to need to go on at least one quality date a week to find the right girlfriend or wife. To find an amazing person, you have to have one, at least, could be more, but at least one quality date per week to choose the right person from. Next question, babe. Let's do one more. Final one, or a couple more.
Okay. What's the most important mindset a guy needs to succeed in dating?
What do you think? She doesn't like it when I do that, when she's not prepared. What do you think, mindset-wise? A thought, an inner attitude. What's the most important attitude for a man? You've heard me on 5 years of coaching calls. What do you think is the most important one?
Confident.
Being confident. Okay. That's good. Yeah, that's true. Confident. Yeah. But what else? Mm-hmm. Other than confidence. Earlier you said abundance. Mm-hmm. Moving on, right? That's good. But what else?
The mindset of like, I want to, I don't need you.
Boom! Uh-huh. Good one. Nice. Yeah. Well done. Not wanting. Not needing her, but wanting her. Extremely important. You want her, but you don't need her. You have to communicate both. It can't just be, I don't need you, and that's it. Because she needs to know that you're interested in her. She needs to feel that. But if it's a little bit too much, if you're needy, it's a big turnoff. So you want to communicate to her at all times that you're intimately interested in her as a woman, and that you're very keen in moving things forward, but you don't need her. If you reflect upon us 5 years ago, you knew that I was interested in you, right? Mm-hmm. But there was also a degree of non-neediness, right?
Yes, unfortunately. Yes.
Unfortunately, she says that now, but she may have regretted it or not enjoyed that evident lack of neediness, because women kind of do like it, but they do get turned off. She's only here because I had a lack of neediness in the beginning.
Maybe.
Well done.